I used 3 main Warlock builds to make this as easy as possible. The Invincible Warlock, Void Controverse, and Starfire Protocol, with a couple minor changes. I'll have dim links to them in the description. So this dungeon has a lot of deadly drops and parkour that can be quick ends to a run if you are careless. So starting off, just be careful not to break your ankles on the way to the first encounter. Now for this encounter, you can run whatever you want. I ran Void just to make killing adds and pit keepers quick and easy. The first encounter itself is fairly easy, as all you have to do is kill Swordbearer, pick up their sword, and then read the symbols at the center of the room, which will correlate to the symbols above the rooms outside. Go to the rooms with the matching symbols and kill 3 different types of enemies using the sword. For the knight, you can only damage him with regular sword attacks. The wizard can only be hurt by the ranged attack. And the Shrieker can only be hurt by deflecting its shots back at it with the block. Now I want to point out a couple of things that might ruin your run and how to avoid them. One really annoying thing that can kill you is the elevators. If you sit on them for too long, they heavily damage you and can kill you. To avoid using the elevators, I try to do the symbols from highest location to the lowest. That way you can avoid using the sketchy elevators altogether. If you do find yourself having to take one though, just be very careful and jump off as soon as it starts hurting you. If you stay on any longer, it might kill you and ruin the run.
God, that's just scuffed elevator.
Next is the Ogres. Now this part is fairly simple as well. I ran my Healing Grenade Warlock build so I can just charge through the Ogres, making them hardly a threat. Now once you enter the area, I like to start from right and move left. So go to the right side, go into this hole, kill the knight, kill all the adds just to get rid of them, pick up the orb, and then deposit it on the right door. I like healing grenades because it allows me to just run right past the ogres with no issue. And I'm never really worried about where they are, as they aren't much of a threat when I can just toss a healing grenade and then chug past them. Then, immediately move left through the holes to get to the middle door area. Go into this hole, kill the knight and the adds, then deposit. Immediately move to the far left through here. Then, enter this hole, kill the knight, and deposit.
I guess I got this part down.
Now you're done. Now, Pit of Suffering can trip you up, especially if you aren't careful or haven't done this encounter a lot. So, I'll give you some tips that might help you get through it. I recommend Void Controverse here. Devour is super helpful for survivability since there are constant adds, and it's great for clearing them. The trick here is to only go for the knights on the left and the right side of the area. Now if you stay off the plate for too long, you will die. So, as soon as it starts, use Trinity or throw a grenade to kill the enemies quickly. I prefer Trinity as well as a weapon because it makes clearing adds very easy. Having a good linear also helps with killing the knights from a distance, as well as taking out the boomer knights that spawn, which is also super important. Now you want to move quick, that is important to remember here. So, as soon as you see the knight, kill it, run over to him, pick up the orb, run immediately back to deposit, and stand on the plate. Be quick, or the Curse of Suffering will wipe you out if it gets too high, as well as it will kill you if you stay off the plate for too long. Once you finish a deposit, enemies will spawn. More importantly, the boomer knights. If they aren't taken care of, they can make quick work of you. So, I like to throw a grenade at the enemies on the ground, maybe use Trinity to clear them up real quick so I can focus those boomer knights as fast as I can. Then, another knight will spawn on left or right. Kill him, grab the orb, deposit, rinse and repeat. I really recommend practicing this solo if you've never done it before, not in a flawless run so that way it's less frustrating, because that way you can get an idea of how the timing works and the kind of rhythm you need to get into for this, because it is very timed, and it's the only encounter that I can think of that can really trip you up throughout this whole run. I also like to have a heritage or a shotgun as the primary, just in case you run out of linear or you don't want to use linear and you just need to run up and kill that knight, get that orb as fast as you can. Primary slugs are very helpful for that. Now the next part is the Deathtrap Maze. Dropping down, take your time and use the lips around the hole as stops before falling again. These spinning pillars can one-shot you, so if you don't get a perfect drop from the start, it can be the end of a run. So don't rush it. I like to have strafe jump and healing grenades with a long-range weapon for this part. I recommend taking a long path around. Don't try risky jumps and sketchy traps. Just take your time, take the jumps slow, and find the wizard, kill them, then move to the next area until all 3 wizards are dead. This part is really sketch, but not too difficult as long as you take your time with the jumps. Next is Zulmak. Now Zulmak is a relatively chill encounter compared to the Pit of Suffering and that sketchy parkour section on the way here. I run Starfire Protocol here with one main change. I use Healing Rift instead of Empowering. The fusions are mainly just for doing good damage on the boss and it's pretty safe, but having that Healing Rift is so much more beneficial while getting to the damage phase. Now this encounter uses all the mechanics of the first encounter. Just kill a sword bearer, pick up a sword, and deal with all 3 types of enemies just like before. The only difference is that there will be an orb that drops from each guy you kill. Deposit all 3 orbs in the center, and damage starts. Some advice as to when I use the Healing Rift to make this part fast and easy is on the Knight and Wizard. I like to drop the rift in the area with the Knight and just sit in it and wail on him. That way you don't have to worry too much about blocking and taking damage. Very similar for the wizard, I just drop it where I have clear line of sight, then start spamming the ranged attacks until it dies, as the wizard will melt you if you're not paying attention, so be careful on that one. That's why I like the Healing Rift. Makes this part easy and safe. One thing to make sure of though, is that the deposit spot is safe to go to. Sometimes, enemies will gather at the stairs, or hide behind the walls and wait for you to deposit before jumping you, causing a quick death. I recommend double checking the path to deposit and whether or not it is safe, and toss a grenade at anything that might kill you just to make quick work of them before doing the deposit. For damage, I recommend a damage over time weapon like Witherhoard, Osteostriga, or Anarchy with whatever else you want. I like Anarchy just because it's safe and can't kill me if something runs in front of me. Plus it does good damage over time, allowing me to spam fusions at the boss without the risk of blowing myself up, like with a rocket launcher. Enemies can sometimes run up on you during damage though, so just make sure to flick them away so they don't block your shots. Damage is really no issue with Starfire, so if done correctly, you only need 2 damage phases. Just rinse and repeat and boom, you got your solo flawless done. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments, and best of luck.
Bye-bye, Zulmak. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There you go.